Somebody's about to spend 28 grand on a car that costs 70 new, and they think the depreciation is the good news. It isn't. The depreciation is the bait. The bill that decides whether that car was clever or catastrophic arrives in year 4, about 3 weeks after the manufacturer's warranty runs out. And it's the difference between a £400 job and a £4,000 one. And here's the bit that catches people. You're buying at 3 years old precisely because somebody else ate the loss. Fair enough. But you're also buying at exactly the point where the factory stops paying for anything. Every one of these cars has a specific part that decides your ownership. And on some of them, you can hear it in 10 seconds standing in a car park. On others, you can't hear it at all until it's already cost you. 12 cars today, all sold in Britain, all worth having once the warranty's gone. And I'll give you the exact fault to check on each one. And number 1 is the only car on this list where after the warranty doesn't really happen at all. The warranty can keep going to 10 years. On a car you bought second-hand off somebody's driveway. I'm Gary, I don't sell cars. No manufacturer pays me a penny. I've got no badge loyalty and nobody's buying me lunch to say nice things about anybody. Number 12. Jaguar, the XF, the XE, the F-Pace. And I'm starting here because this is the most important 10 seconds in the whole video. The 2-litre Ingenium diesel. It's in all of them, it's in a lot of Land Rovers too, and it runs a timing chain. Now everybody hears chain and relaxes. Don't. This chain has a documented history of stretching and of tensioner trouble, typically somewhere between 60 and 80,000 miles. And it's an interference engine, which means when the timing slips far enough, the valves and the pistons meet. That's not a repair, that's an engine. There is no recall for it in this country. Nobody's writing you a letter. So here's your test, and it costs nothing. Turn up in the morning, before the car has been started. Get the seller to fire it up while you stand at the front with the bonnet up. You're listening for a metallic rattle in the first second or two, a sound like a bag of spanners being shaken, that then clears as the oil pressure comes up. If you hear it, walk. Not negotiate, walk. If you don't, you've got a car that cost 50 grand new, still looks superb, and has an interior nothing else at the price matches. Verdict. The best value British car on the road, sat behind one 10-second test that most buyers never do. And everything here comes off DVSA recall records, published MOT data, and the manufacturer's own UK warranty terms. Not an American list with pound signs stuck on it. Right. Before the next one, hit subscribe. It's free, and it's the sort of thing that stops a mate signing for something daft on a Saturday morning. Number 11, and it's the same engine again. So same test, same rattle, same walkaway. The Velar and the Evoque. Beautiful things absolutely hammered by depreciation. And there's a second thing on top of the chain. Air suspension on a lot of them. And air springs are rubber, and rubber has a lifespan. When a bag perishes, the car sits down on one corner overnight. Free test, same trip. Look at how it's parked before it's been started. A car that's been running for 20 minutes has pumped itself level. A car that's sat all night tells you the truth. Verdict. 2 free tests, both done before you've driven it. Pass both and it's a lot of car for the money. Number 10. The 5 Series. The 520D in particular, because that's what Britain bought. Solid car. The 4-cylinder diesel does enormous mileages in company hands and doesn't complain. What you're checking here isn't catastrophic, it's just expensive if you don't budget for it. The water pump and thermostat are the known wear items, usually somewhere past 60,000. Symptoms: a temperature gauge that wanders, or a coolant smell after a run. Independent BMW specialist, sensible money. Main dealer, considerably less sensible money. Second thing, and it's the one people forget, run flat tyres. A lot of these are on run flats. They can't be repaired when you pick up a nail, and they're dearer than normal tyres. That's a couple of £100 you weren't expecting, twice. And a word about what these are like to actually work on, because it decides your bills more than the badge does. Get a modern 5 Series up in the air, and the underside is fully panelled. A great flat tray of plastic that has to come off before anybody touches anything. That's 20 minutes of undressing the car before the job starts, and 20 minutes back on at the end every single time. Nobody itemizes that on an invoice, but you pay it. It's why the same job costs more on this than on something simpler. And it has nothing to do with reliability. Verdict: no nasty surprises, just a running cost. Find a good independent before you buy, not after. Number 9, the A6, and almost all of them in Britain are the 40 TDI. The 3-litre or the 2-litre 4-cylinder in the later ones. Here's the one nobody mentions. The V6 diesel runs a chain, and that chain lives at the back of the engine against the bulkhead, which means on the rare occasion it wants attention, the engine comes out. That's the lesson of this whole block. Chain versus belt isn't the question. Where it lives is the question, and how many hours it takes somebody to reach it. Listen at the bulkhead end on a cold start rather than the front. Most are fine, you just want to know. Verdict: the best interior of the German 3 at this age. Listen at the back of the engine, not the front. And coming up, there's a car on this list where the battery is still under warranty for 8 years, which sounds like a gift, until you find out what happened to the value of the thing it's attached to. That's number 7. Number 8, the E-Class, and specifically the E220D. I'll be straightforward. That diesel engine is one of the better things Mercedes has done in 20 years. Quiet, efficient, and it takes motorway mileage without blinking. Most of these were company cars doing long runs, which is the kindest life a diesel can have. Concession, Airmatic, same air suspension story as the Range Rover, same morning test. And if it's an AMG line car on big wheels, factor the tyres in, because they aren't cheap and they don't last. Second thing, and it applies to every modern diesel here, not just this one. AdBlue. There's a second tank on the car full of a fluid that gets injected into the exhaust to clean up the emissions, and it needs topping up. That's a few quid if you buy it yourself at a motor factor and pour it in. It's a great deal more than a few quid if you let a main dealer do it as a line on a service invoice. And when the system itself plays up, the sensor or the pump, the car will eventually refuse to start until it's sorted. Not break down. Refuse to start. Worth knowing before it happens on a Monday morning. Verdict: the most comfortable long-distance car here. Check how it's sitting and check the wheel size before you commit. Right, number 7, and this is the one I said to hang on for. The Polestar 2, and the numbers on these are genuinely startling. They've fallen further and faster than almost anything else on the used market in this country. Why? Because manufacturers have to hit a set share of electric sales every year or get fined per car, and the fines are enormous. So they discount new electric cars hard to get the registrations on the books, and every discount on a new one comes straight off the value of every used one already out there. That's not a Polestar problem. That's happening across the whole electric market. Here's why it belongs on this list anyway. The battery, the expensive bit, carries its own separate warranty, typically 8 years. So a 3-year-old one still has 5 years of cover on the single component everybody's frightened of. And mechanically, there's very little else. No cam, no clutch, no gearbox in the normal sense, no exhaust, no particulate filter. Brake pads last for ages because the motor does most of the slowing. The honest bit: check the battery health report before you buy. A dealer can pull it, and if they won't, that tells you something. And work out your charging honestly. If you can't charge at home, the sums on any electric car change completely, and anybody who tells you otherwise is selling one. Verdict: the biggest fall in value on this list, on the car with the fewest things to go wrong. Get the battery health report in writing. Number 6, and this one surprises people. The Macan. Not because it's cheap, it holds its value better than anything else here, but because of what you get for the money once it's out of warranty. It's built like a proper car. The interior wears far better than the Germans below it, and the running costs. if you use a good independent Porsche specialist rather than a main dealer, are a lot closer to sane than the badge suggests. Concession, and it's a real one. The servicing is not cheap, the tyres are not cheap, and the brakes are not cheap. This is the one car here where I'd say, plainly, if the purchase price is your entire budget, buy something else. If you've got money set aside, it's the best made thing on this list. Verdict: the least depreciation and the most car. Budget for it properly or don't do it. Number 5. Volvo. The XC60 if you want the SUV, the S90 or V90 if you want the saloon or estate. The B5 mild hybrid engines are the ones to have. Straightforward Euro 6, and the interior is the nicest place to sit on this entire list. Pale wood, clean surfaces, and a design that hasn't aged a day. Concession. The big portrait screen is the weak point rather than the mechanicals. When it plays up, it takes half the car's functions with it, because Volvo put everything in it. Sit in one and use the screen properly for 10 minutes before you buy. And on the diesels, check the service history for long runs rather than short ones. A diesel that's done 4-mile school journeys has a particulate filter full of soot and a bill waiting. Verdict: the quiet class of the group. Test the screen as hard as you'd test the engine. If that's been useful, tap the like button. It shoves this in front of somebody about to spend 30 grand without doing a single one of these checks. Number 4. Genesis. Hyundai's luxury brand. Here since 2021, and the used values have fallen through the floor. Why? Not the engineering. The interiors are extraordinary for the money, and the build quality is genuinely there. It's the network. There are very few Genesis centres in this country, so if you're a long way from one, every warranty job is a day out. That's what depresses the price. Now, an important correction, because this gets repeated wrongly all over the internet. You'll read that Genesis comes with 10 years and 100,000 miles of powertrain cover. That's the American package. In Britain, it's a 5-year warranty with unlimited mileage, plus 5 years of servicing included. Still very good, better than the Germans, but know what you're actually buying, which means a car registered in 2022 is out of warranty next year. That's your negotiation. One practical thing in its favour that nobody mentions. Underneath, a lot of what makes these move is shared with Hyundai and Kia, and Hyundai and Kia sell in serious numbers in this country. So the mechanical parts supply isn't the problem people assume it is. Where it does get awkward is the bits that are Genesis and only Genesis. The trim, the screens, the seats, the body panels. That's where a bill gets long, and it's another reason to get an insurance quote on the exact car before you buy rather than after. Verdict: the most equipment per pound in Britain. Check where your nearest Genesis centre actually is before anything else. And the top 3 are all the same badge. That's not laziness. There's a specific reason it applies to all 3, and it's the single most useful thing in this video. I'll explain it at number 1, quick one before the last block, because it explains the whole video. 3 things have collided in the used market. Manufacturers are discounting new electric cars hard to hit their quotas, and that drags every used price down behind it. Company car tax rules have pushed fleets out of diesel and into electric, so 3- and 4-year-old diesel executive cars are coming off lease in numbers with nobody queuing up for them. And the buyers who'd normally take them are nervous about anything with a big engine and a big screen, which is a boardroom story, and boardroom stories are useless on their own. Here's the bit that's yours. It means the cars in this video are cheap for reasons that have nothing to do with how they were built. A 3-year-old diesel E-Class didn't get worse. The queue for it got shorter. That is the single best condition there is for a used buy. A good car that the market has stopped looking at. And it also means, if you're buying one to sell again in 2 years, don't. That same pressure will still be pushing prices down. These make sense as cars you keep for 5 or 6 years and run properly, not as something you flip. Number 3. The Lexus ES 300h. And note the H because the petrol V6 ES 350 you'll read about was never sold here. Don't go looking for one. What you get is a big, quiet rear comfort saloon with a hybrid system that has almost nothing in it designed to wear out. No camber, no clutch, no dual mass flywheel, no torque converter, no particulate filter because it isn't a diesel. The gearbox is a set of gears and 2 electric motors, concession, and it comes straight out of that. Because the electric side does most of the braking, the friction brakes barely get used, so they seize. Rear calipers and handbrake mechanisms corrode from inactivity. Symptom is a binding noise, a smell of hot metal after a run, or one wheel noticeably hotter than the rest. Cheap if you catch it. Ask for the rears to be stripped and greased every couple of services. Second one, the 12-volt battery. When it goes, the car won't wake up and the dash lights up like a fruit machine. People think the hybrids died. It's a battery. Verdict. Dull to look at. Close to free to own. Number 2, the RX. Same mechanical story, bigger car, and it's the one that makes sense for most families. Enormous boot, seats that suit people who are stiff in the mornings, and a ride that's set up for comfort rather than for a lap time. Same brake seizing concession, same 12-volt battery, same lack of anything expensive to replace. And a warning that applies to this one more than any other on the list. Check the list price it was registered at. I'll explain why in a minute, because it's worth several £100s a year to you, and almost nobody checks it. Verdict. The family answer. The running costs are the whole argument. Number 1. Stick with me, because this is the bit that changes how you buy any of them. Number 1. The Lexus LS 500h. The flagship. 80-odd £1,000 new, and a fraction of that now. And note the H again. The twin-turbo petrol LS 500 wasn't a UK car. Ours is the hybrid, but that's not why it's number 1. Here's why. Every new Lexus is sold with a 3-year or 60,000-mile manufacturer's warranty, the same as everybody else. The difference is what happens next. When that runs out, Lexus adds another 12 months and 10,000 miles of manufacturer warranty every time the car has a qualifying service at an official Lexus center. And you can keep doing that until the car is 10 years old or has done 100,000 miles. Now read this part twice because this is the bit that matters. It applies to used cars, bought from anywhere. It doesn't have to have come from a Lexus dealer. It doesn't have to have been serviced by Lexus before, and it can have been through several owners. If it meets the age and mileage limits, you take it in for a service and it walks out with manufacturer's warranty on it again. So in a video about which luxury cars are worth owning after the warranty, there's one brand where if you keep servicing it properly, that moment doesn't really arrive until the car's 10 years old. The honest bit, those services are Lexus main dealer services at Lexus main dealer prices, and that's the trade. You're effectively buying a warranty each year rather than gambling. On a Lexus, where very little goes wrong anyway, some people would rather use an independent and take the risk. On a flagship stuffed with electronics, air suspension and screens, I know which way I'd go. And that's the reason the last 3 cars share a badge. It isn't the engine, it's that document. Verdict. The most car for the money in Britain, attached to the only warranty on this list that doesn't have to end. Do the sums on the servicing, then decide. Right, this is the bit to write down, and the first one is worth more than everything else here put together. 1. The £40,000 trap. Every car in this video cost over £40,000 new, and in this country, any car first registered after April 2017 with a list price above £40,000 pays an extra supplement on top of the normal road tax. Several £100s a year, from the 2nd year through to the 6th. Which means if you buy a 3-year-old one, you inherit years 4, 5 and 6 of that supplement. It's not the seller's problem anymore, it's yours, and it's on the list price when new, not what you paid. Since April 2025, that applies to electric cars too. Put the registration into gov.uk and get the real figure before you sign anything. 2. The MOT history. Gov.uk registration and read every test the car's ever had. Not just pass or fail, The advisories. That's a mechanic's written opinion on that exact car every year for free. Corrosion noted 3 years running, an oil leak that keeps reappearing, suspension flagged twice. It's the car's real biography and no seller can edit it. 3. The 2 cold tests. Turn up in the morning before it's been started. Listen to it fire up with the bonnet open. Look at how it's sitting on its suspension. Both of those hide completely once the car's been running for 20 minutes, which is exactly why sellers warm them up. 4. The insurance quote before you commit. Exact model, exact trim. Every car here is a high group. 2 minutes on the phone has ended more of these purchases than any test drive. One I've left off deliberately. The Maserati Ghibli. The presence is unmatched at the money and the depreciation is spectacular. But the specialist network in Britain is small, and if you're 80 miles from anybody who knows the car, every fault becomes a day out. It's a weekend car for somebody with money set aside. It isn't a car to run on the last of your budget, and I'd be doing you a disservice pretending otherwise. Here's what I'd want somebody to tell my own family. A cheap luxury car is not a cheap car. It's an expensive car that somebody else has already paid the depreciation on, which is a brilliant deal, but only on one condition. The running costs never depreciated at all. The tax didn't get cheaper. The insurance didn't get cheaper. The parts are still parts off a 70 grand car. The only bit that got cheaper is the bit you pay once. So work out the annual number before the purchase price, not after. If it fits, buy the best one you can find and enjoy it, because there is nothing else on the road offering this much for this little. Tell me in the comments which one you'd take, and if you've owned one out of warranty, what it actually cost you over a year. That's worth more than any review. And if I've got a detail wrong, say so plainly and I'll put it right in a future video, because I'd rather be corrected than confident. Subscribe if that was useful. There's more of it on the channel every week. Buy with your head, not the badge. This video is based on publicly available recall notices, MOT test data, safety ratings, reliability surveys, manufacturer warranty terms, and independent review evidence current at time of publication. Individual vehicle outcomes vary. Some models may have had subsequent updates, recalls, or improvements. Always obtain current information and independent advice before making any purchase decision.